Welcome to Global Rhythms Live, world music and dance digital concert series presented by Ensemble Topaz.
Hi everyone, it's with great joy that we welcome you to the 20th edition of Global Rhythms Live, World Music and Dance Digital Concert. I'm Parmita Kaur, co-artistic director and choreographer of Ensemble Topaz, a Toronto-based integrated music and dance ensemble, and it's my great joy and honor, along with Mike Anklewitz, to present to you this week's edition of Global Rhythms Live. Each week, we feature artists from different parts of the world performing different genres of world music, dance, and performance traditions. Joining me in the studio is Mike Anklewitz, musician, composer, and music director for Ensemble Topaz, as well as several other music projects, as well as the faculty member of Royal Conservatory of Music here in Toronto. He's also our managing technical director for Global Rhythms Live.
Thank you so much, Parmita, and thank you for joining us today. Artists all over the world have been turning to digital platforms to keep performing their music, and we are so pleased to be able to offer this concert series for musicians, and dancers to be able to continue to keep their art moving forward. We can use this platform to collaborate with artists that we might not normally work with, and sometimes we can experiment with our standard forms and really take our art to the next level. We also started this series to be able to share a bit of the artistic journeys of these incredible artists that we are honored to present. This week, you can support our artists by sending your donations to our PayPal or e-transfer at the address ensemble.topaz@gmail.com. And you'll see that all throughout the program on the videos that we're going to present to you today. So it's ensemble.topaz@gmail.com for either e-transfer if you're in Canada or for PayPal if you're in the United States or somewhere else. And please note, if you're joining us on Facebook, the Facebook captions are generated automatically and they appear at the bottom of your screen, and you can turn that off in the settings for those Facebook captions.
Perfect. We will start today's performances with a Klezmer-fusion performance by Mike Anklewitz. Mike Anklewitz is a Toronto-based musician and educator specializing in saxophone, clarinet, and woodwinds. Having studied classical music on the saxophone, he also performs jazz, klezmer, rock, R&B, Balkan, and Indian music, and is one of the few musicians in North America to play the algoza, a rare double flute from the Thar Desert straddling India and Pakistan. Mike Anklewitz founded Klezfactor in 2004, composing and performing a fusion of Eastern European Jewish musical traditions with jazz, rock, Balkan, and other musical styles, garnering airplay on radio and television on 4 continents with their 3 albums. As music director for Ensemble Topaz, Mike has guided the band and created arrangements for music that has its source in Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Tajikistan, and India, and collaborated with many musicians from all over the world, and recording with the assistance of an Ontario Arts Council music recording grant in 2019. He also holds a PhD in ethnomusicology from York University and teaches saxophone at the Royal Conservatory of Music in Toronto. So here is Mike with his Klezmer-fusion. Thank you so much, Mike. Mike, what can you tell us about this song and this aesthetic that you just performed?
Well, the song is called Naftala Strikes Bach. There's a Bach chorale like introduction that I sort of cut out for this version of the song, but it exists with it. So it's also kind of a spiritual sequel to a composition from Klez Factor's first album called Naftala Brandwine is a Badass Mathematician. And Naftala Brandwine was one of the great klezmer clarinetists, and his style of playing very soulful, very rhythmic, very strong, and so I've tried to channel him on many occasions, and I sort of wrote this song to sort of continue that trend.
Would you very briefly just be able to tell us, for those of our audiences who may not be familiar, what is klezmer? What is this genre?
Well, klezmer is the sort of wedding music of Eastern European Jews. So it's the music that would accompany the wedding, and there are different sort of genres of songs that would accompany different parts of the wedding ceremony or the festivities around the ceremony. And so, this is the music of my ancestors, I guess, the music that my grandparents would have heard, their parents, and so on back in Poland. And so playing this music and sort of blending it with all the music that I've grown up with and listened to, whether it's jazz, classical, rock, Balkan, all of these musical styles I've grown up with and been exposed to in an amazing city like Toronto. And sort of I've combined the klezmer with some of these other styles, and that's sort of my personal aesthetic and that of Klez Factor.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And now we move on to our guest artist for this edition of Global Rhythms Live. We're very excited to have with us the work of Nomad Dancers of Washington, D.C., United States. Nomad Dancers is the premier world dance performance group from Washington, D.C., specializing in dances of the Middle East, Central Asia, and South Asia. Nomad Dancers has performed nationally, internationally, including at venues such as the Kennedy Center, the Smithsonian Museum, and the White House. The Nomad Dancers is a nonprofit educational and cultural organization with the purpose of creating a greater understanding among peoples of all nations through the art of traditional dance. We hope you enjoy this beautiful set of performances by them. We're so honored to have them with us. Please enjoy.
میشینم با تو و دورت حسار میکشم ناز چشمان تو را بی اختیار میکشم بینشینی پیش مهتاب و تو ناز میکنی کام این دیوانه را هر شب تو باز میکنی نیمه جانم ای نیمه جانم چه حالی دارم امشب روح و روانم آرام جهانم هوا تو دارم امشب نیمه جانم ای نیمه جانم چه حالی دارم امشب رو روانم آشوب زمانم چه یاری دارم امشب یارم ای یار یار یارم یار ای یار یار جانم ای جان جان ای یارم یار ای یار یار یارم ای یار یار یارم یار ای یار یار جانم ای جان جان ای یارم یار ای یار یار از عشقت بند این دل دیوانه میلرزد خرابم میکنی هر دم خرابی با تو میارزد ندارم طاقت دل کندن است تو که هم جان است و دارم هم تن است تو آخه عاشق شده این دل پریشون شده این دل عاشق شده این دل مست و مجنون شده این دل نیمه جانم ای نیمه جانم چه حالی دارم امشب روح و روانم آرام جهانم هوا تو دارم امشب نیمه جانم ای نیمه جانم چه حالی دارم امشب رو روانم آشوب زمانم چه یاری دارم امشب
Thank you for that beautiful performance. And here we have with us Parastu from Nomad Dancers. She's one of the company members and dancers of Nomad Dancers. And we have her. So welcome to the show, Parastu.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to perform in Global Rhythms.
Great. Thank you so much. We're excited, we're delighted, and we're thrilled to have you. So, Parastu, we would love to know a little bit more about this amazing dance that you've just performed and videoed and showcased for us. So, can you tell us a little bit about this particular dance and also this costume and the philosophy behind this dance as well?
Yes, sure. So this is a dance that actually was supposed to premiere for Nowruz, the Persian New Year, in March at the Smithsonian Frears and Sackler Gallery. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we were unable to showcase it until this month that we decided to video record it. And we've had a couple of opportunities to stream it to a virtual audience, which we're still very happy to do. So this piece, we prepared it for Nowruz. The idea first started about a year ago. And I know you're in Toronto. I was actually there visiting friends. You know, there's a large Iranian community in Toronto. And I was looking for a good song that was, our co-director, Christelle Stevens, had put me on a mission to find a modern and popular Iranian song. We do have a lot of, authentic and traditional Persian dances, but we were trying to come up with something more contemporary and modern Persian. So while I was there visiting my high school friends in Toronto, I asked for suggestions for songs, and one of my friends recommended this song. And Krista loved it. She thought it was very emotional, and I think she was inspired by it. So the process started there. Christelle choreographed this. She tells me that she used Persian movements, some typical Persian movements, but it's really blended with a lot of other things, some other Central Asian techniques and just contemporary moves. And she tells me that it springs from the emotional feelings that are in the song. And for the costume, I was visiting Iran in December. I was in Shiraz, that's where my husband and family is from. And I saw some costume shops in the Bakil Bazaar. A lot of them were very traditional, and I was trying to look for something more modern. So I was introduced to this little shop in the bazaar who agreed to make these tops for us in a matter of 2 days. I got that done and then brought them over here and had a friend of mine, an artist, Dr. Vahid Behravan, who agreed to do hand calligraphy on them. And I have to stand up to show you, and then I'll tell you what it says. We're very lucky that we had an artist here who could write on the fabric for us. This is a piece of the poem from Rumi, the great 13th century Persian poet. And my mother-in-law suggested the poem, by the way, because it had dance in it. And I'll recite that in Persian. It says, یک دست جام باده و یک دست زلف یار رقصی چنین میانه میدانم آرزوست. It means, and I'll try not to be literal, but in one hand, a glass of wine, and in the other, the beloved's hair. This is the kind of dance that I want to be doing in the middle of the field, and it really means the life stage. And we picked this poem because we had our own interpretation that this is the kind of dance that we want to do on our stages for our audiences, bring joy to our audiences, and showcase some dances and art from our region of the world. So the costumes were put together, the dance was put together, we were ready to go a week before the performance, the premiere. Festivals and everything got canceled, and we stuck together over Zoom sessions. We continued practicing, we kept it up, and here we are having an opportunity to showcase it to virtual audiences. So it's very exciting.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing this beautiful journey of the dance piece as well as the costume. It's fascinating, and it's fascinating how each dance has its own journey and story as well. So,
It really
thank you
does.
so much for sharing that. So you mentioned, and I know it's been such a challenge this year for all dancers and all artists around the world to try to adapt during this pandemic time, and especially those of us who are engaged in Persian and Central Asian dance and musical forms that we did lose the entirety of our Nowruz season. Sort of in many ways, a year starts during that Nowruz season for performances.
Exactly.
So, yeah, just could you tell us a little bit? I know you've mentioned that you've been practicing via Zoom. Can you tell us, and I find a lot of dancers may find this resonant as well, what are, I guess, what are some of the challenges that you find through Zoom, but also sometimes perhaps an advantage? What has been your experience via, or for the Nomad dancers via the Zoom in terms of rehearsing and also transmitting choreography? And then also, when you get together in real life after that in a socially distancing safe manner, how did you find that I guess that worked out, how that translated into the real life dancing situation?
It's really hard. It's totally not the same, but it's better than nothing, right? So it was either we do that and make it work, or we just completely give up. And since the pandemic is taking very long, we had to do something. So it's just a stopgap right now. I wouldn't call it very efficient, unfortunately, especially when we do group dances. It's not only a matter of learning a choreography and practicing it on your own, but you have to coordinate with other dancers in your group, and you all have to be looking the same, and you have to look at each other. And really, that's something that's impossible with Zoom, especially because even I think the music travels with different speeds. So we hear the music at slightly different times, so we can't even try to be together on the Zoom screen. So it's very difficult, and just technical difficulties is um, it's very hard to work with. But again, we're just trying to keep it up and not lose everything that we already know, and so we don't have to start from scratch a year from now or whenever. But now that we can go outside and practice outside a little bit, we've done that a couple of times. It's been really nice. And as you can see, this performance was done during the pandemic outside. We even changed the choreography in a couple of places to make it socially distanced. So we had some parts of the choreography where we were together doing things with a partner, and we changed that so that we don't have to get too close to each other. And it was really nice, you know, after several months of practicing on Zoom, just to be able to be outdoors and together and dance together and share that energy with each other. It was priceless.
Amazing, amazing. Yes, I can absolutely imagine. It must have felt so good to finally be and be together and dance together. You did have recently another performance as well, in a socially distancing safe manner. And I noticed that you had these very interesting and beautiful looking masks for social distancing. Can you tell us a little bit about this particular event that you performed in, and also how you, I guess, dealt with the pandemic situation? That just it was, and I recommend to all of our audiences to go check this performance out on the Nomad Dancers social media and Facebook. But yes, if you could tell us a little bit about how you've also adapted some aspects of the dance costume to this situation.
Yes, it was ECOT mask, right? That's also something Christelle, our co-director, did. And she worked with someone she knew who made those for us from ECOT, which has roots in Uzbekistan, and we do a lot of Uzbek dance as well. So it was special, and we thought it fit our dance company, and then we had to put in sequins ourselves just to make it more blingy and more our style. Um, it was hard performing with masks on, just because you feel like you need more oxygen, and it's hard to come through the mask. But again, we're doing new things, right? So we made that work. It was a show called Live from the Rug Shop, sponsored by the Manukian brothers. They have a rug shop in Arlington, Virginia. And I think they showcase artists at different weeks or different times. I'm not sure if it's a weekly show. But just like yourself, they also sponsor this live streaming. It was a Facebook stream, and they invited us over for that one show, and we performed in the rock shop. Christelle and Adrienne, our co-directors, went earlier that day and decorated the place and put in some of the beautiful rugs from the shop. And we performed there, and that was pretty successful, I would say, except the masks were a little bit challenging. But hey, they at least looked our style.
That's fantastic. And once again, we recommend to all of our audiences to also go check out this wonderful performance. Parastu, one more question, and I'm just curious if you can tell us a little bit about your personal journey as a dancer, and also how your journey with the Nomad dancers, how you came across this beautiful company, and yeah, if you could just share with us your personal dance journey.
I have been dancing with Nomad dancers for 10 years. And before that, we were in another dance company, and we danced together with most of the members. Not all, but there are quite a few of the members that I have danced with for 20 years or so. So they're my friends, really, and not we don't only dance together, but we've been through a lot together over the span of 20 years or so. Um, and we're just good friends. We're there for each other. And 10 years ago, when we we formed this company, we just wanted to dance together, and we wanted to continue to learn and present dances from Central Asia, Iran, and the region, but mostly Iran and Central Asian countries. And we continued together. We did invite some guest artists and choreographers, and we collaborated with them. We have some choreographers and teachers within the group. So we each brought our own talents and specialties, and we shared with each other. So now it's really part of the family. And in this world that's challenging to live sometimes, this is something that brings a lot of joy to me. And I'm a computer scientist by education and by profession, so this is for me a window to art and to a world that really makes me um, feel good about myself and about life and about my friends. When I dance, it lifts my spirits. It just makes me happy, and so I've been learning from everyone, and I've been contributing. I'm one of uh, the older members of the group that has an Iranian background. Well, I am Iranian, so I can help with some of the aspects about where everything comes from, the costuming. I've had family members bring costumes from Iran with music and things like that. So I've contributed to some of our Persian dances. And now I have a 7-year-old daughter that I'm trying to teach, and I want to make her interested in Persian dances. I had the opportunity to dance with her one time right before the pandemic, at a Girl Scout event, and that was the highlight of my dance life. I thought I just felt so good that now I have my daughter dancing these dances that I care so much about with me on stage. And I looked really forward to doing that again on the Persian New Year stage, which got canceled. But hopefully next year I get an opportunity to do that again.
Well, what a beautiful story. What a beautiful story. And yes, let's hope that the pandemic ends and yeah, and then you are able to dance with your daughter and show it
Thank
to the
you.
world. So we will now show the second dance by the Nomad dancers, and this is a piece that was performed in the White House. So we're very excited to see this piece. Before we show this piece, can you tell us a little bit about this exciting performance and also the dance that we're about to watch?
Yes. On a personal level, I said the highlight of my dance life was dancing with my daughter. That was very personal. But on the dance career side, the highlight of it was dancing at the White House at the invitation of Michelle Obama. So that was something that we will never forget. It was in 2016 that Michelle Obama, the first lady at the time, uh, had a Persian New Year reception, a Nowruz reception. She hosted the event and she invited some of the Iranian artists to perform. And Nomad Dancers was among them, and we got to collaborate with some of the famous Iranian artists in the region who were also invited. We performed 2 dances. I believe you're going to see that here today. One dance is an Azeri dance choreographed by Olimjan Bek Nazarov. And another dance is a Persian dance with, it's a fusion dance, really Persian with some Azeri elements. The music is by the Iranian musician and singer Bijan Mortazavi. And that was choreographed and taught to us by Miriam Perez.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And we very much look forward to watching this beautiful dance. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy this beautiful second piece by the Nomad dancers.
thank you so much to the Nomad dancers of Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying our show today, please consider supporting the artists by making a donation via PayPal or e-transfer to ensemble.topaz at gmail.com. That's ensemble.topaz@gmail.com. It's listed in the top corner or sometimes the bottom corner of the screen. It's not there right now. We've decided to have Paramita's head be completely visible today, but it's going to be there, and it's going to be there throughout the performances that you're going to see for the rest of the show. Any amount is appreciated, and we thank you so much for appreciating the arts, appreciating dancers, and for supporting artists at times like these.
I'd just like to quickly mention, yes, I think our stream did stop the first time. So if you would like to watch the first half or the first quarter of the show, it is available as a separate stream on both YouTube and Facebook. So let's hope we can continue the stream in one go.
Yes, we have some great performances to share with you. So the next one is, that we were very greatly inspired by the Nomad dancers this week, their performances, and we decided to share some works by Ensemble Topaz, since the two groups actually work in very similar regions and
the world.
Yeah, so Ensemble Topaz is a Toronto-based music and dance company dedicated to performing traditional and contemporary cultural forms from South and Central Asian traditions. Founded by dance artist Paramita, the company performs dance and music from Afghan, Iranian, Tajik, Kazakh, and Uzbek heritages, as well as South Asian heritages. Ensemble Topaz has performed at numerous events in Toronto, Ontario, and beyond. Recent highlight performances include the Festival of India and Festival in Colours in Thunder Bay just a couple of weeks ago. The Canadian Arabic Orchestra's Multicultural Folk Festival, which should be streaming soon.
And we will have the link for everyone to watch.
Yeah. And the Intercultural Diversity Festival with Persian and Afghan dances from this year, a 5-city Northern Ontario tour in 2019, the Tirgan Festival in 2019, the Toronto International Dance Festival from 2016 to 2019, the Canadian National Exhibition International Stage in 2016, and Bombardier's delivery ceremony of the Q400 aircraft for Kazakh Airways of Kazakhstan back in 2019. Ensemble Topaz was the recipient of an Ontario Arts Council recording grant in 2019 and is proud to be a recipient of the Ontario Arts Council Dance Training Projects Equity and Access Grant for 2020.
May I just mention one more thing? And I think this is relevant in the case of not only Ensemble Topaz, but also several artists around the world right now. Producers and organizers who continue to support artists, especially at this difficult time where it is so challenging to have live performances, we really are grateful. We have had the honor and opportunity to perform at a couple of them, and we wanted to extend a note of thank you to all of our organizers who have extended opportunities to not only us, but to artists around the world at this time. So I will get back. I'll let you take over again.
No, I think it's very important to acknowledge the work that producers are doing, adapting to these times, and especially, contributing and committing to support the artists anyway, and to support culture any way they can.
Yeah.
So this next piece is a choreography from Paramita, and it was performed at an event last year. And we'll ask Paramita, we'll let you see the event first, the performance, and then we'll ask Paramita a question or two about what inspired it. So here is the Simorg. Thank you so much, Paramita. And what can you tell us about this piece?
Well, this piece actually, I premiered the first version of this piece back in Nowruz last year, and it was originally a dance solo, and then eventually through the course of the year, I did it several times, and had eventually other dancers be part of it in different capacities over the course of the year. So this piece, one day I do hope that this piece can be part of a larger project. I originally thought of it as part of a larger project based on several smaller stories from the Shahnameh, or themes from the Shahnameh. It's a project that I do hope to revisit, but so that's actually the history of the piece. Oh, I should mention, Simorg is a bird in the ancient Persian and Iranic mythologies, and that's why there is wings in the piece. It's a great big bird, somewhat like a phoenix, but also has several different aspects of it. So that's why the visuals are the way they are in the dance.
That's amazing and great to know that context, because it really helps understand, the artistic choices. So now we move on to something a little more recent, filmed just last night during our social distancing times. This is a duet in the Afghan dance style, focusing largely on modern Afghan songs. It features Ensemble Topaz dancers Angelica Moret and Paramita Kaur, and we videoed in Angelica's driveway. So please enjoy.
زیبا داری یکی گردنک زنان میای به میدان یکی زلفای خدا کرده پریشان یکی لبها را قده سرخ و اناری یکی به طرز همه سر خیلی خوبان رقصیده بیا جلوه نما سر روانه آهنگ بخوان که مست شود پیر و جوانه همه میگن شانه پرانه همه میگن شانه پرانه همه میگن شانه پرانه همه میگن شانه پرانه کرده بیا مویاره واز کرده بیا عشق آغاز کرده بیا شور بده خم چم خم چم بساز مست شور آواز کرده بیا عشق پرداز کرده بیا دمکت گرم 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 ناز کرده بیا مویاره واز کرده بیا عشق آغاز کرده بیا شور بده خم چم خم چم بساز مست شور آواز کرده بیا عشق پرداز کرده بیا دمکت گرم 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 رقصیده بیا جلوه نما سر روانه آهنگ بخوان که مست شود پیر و جوانک همه میگن شانه پرانک همه میگن شانه پرانک همه میگن شانه پرانک همه میگن شانه پرانک.
And thank you so much, Paramita. And Angelica Moret also joined you dancing this Afghan duo. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us and coming back with us
on the stream today.
When we had a little bit of an issue with. We actually don't know why, but
it's a technical glitch, but we're back and we're happy to have been able to continue the stream. And so thank you for staying with us and for your patience in staying with us.
And we hope that you enjoyed today's edition of Global Rhythms, the World Music and Dance digital concert streamed from the living rooms of our artists and Studio Topaz in our living room. Please support the artists by making a donation to our PayPal address at ensemble.topaz@gmail.com, or if you're in Canada, you can send an e-transfer as well. So it's ensemble.topaz@gmail.com. In the coming weeks, we'll continue to feature artists from across the world performing traditional and innovative artistic material. Please stay updated by following our Facebook page as well as Instagram, which is @Ensemble Topaz, where you will find links to the wonderful artists who joined us here today, and you can also subscribe or follow us on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for joining us in our journey today, and we hope that you'll join us in the future.
Thank you all.